All right, let's just get right into it. We need to talk about one of the biggest, and maybe one of the most awkward, topics in modern dating: money. I know, it doesn't exactly scream romance, but trust me, ignoring it can be one of the most expensive mistakes you'll ever make in a relationship.
And this quote right here, man, it just hits the nail on the head. The money habits and the communication skills you build, or, the ones you don't build while you're dating, they don't just magically vanish if you get more serious. This one sentence is pretty much the reason we're doing this whole explainer.
So, what really happens when we just stay quiet about it? Well, it's not like nothing's happening. Staying silent on finances is an active choice, and it's one that builds a foundation of stress, resentment, and a whole lot of future conflict. Let's take into why this is such a huge problem for so many people. And let's be super clear here. We're not talking about little arguments over who's picking up the dinner tab. We're talking about one of the main reasons that serious, long-term relationships actually end. What starts out as just an awkward silence can grow into this massive roadblock that can completely derail the future you're trying to build together. Now, check out this data. It's really telling. In the US, about a third of all adults in relationships say that money causes conflict. That's already a pretty big number, right? But look at that second bar. For younger couples, 18 to 24-year-olds, that number absolutely explodes. Just let that sink in for a second. 50%. Fully half of young couples are already feeling the pressure when it comes to money. So this isn't some tiny niche problem we're talking about. It's a major challenge for a whole generation of relationships. It really goes to show you that silence is definitely not golden here. Okay, so if we know it's a problem, why on earth do we keep putting it off? Well, it turns out it's kind of complicated. There are some really deep-seated fears and habits that make this whole conversation feel incredibly scary for a lot of us. And this isn't just an American thing, not by a long shot. This data from Europe shows the patterns are almost identical. Get this, almost half of couples in the UK wait until they are literally moving in together to finally talk about their finances. And about 30% of people admit to hiding purchases, while a third of couples across Europe just flat out say they are not comfortable talking about money at all. And it all comes down to these core barriers. We're worried our partner is going to judge us for our spending, or maybe for our debt. We're scared it's going to start a huge fight. Sometimes it just feels so awkward. And for some people, there are financial secrets they'd rather keep buried, which, of course, is a total trust killer. So, that fear of starting a fight, it's a massive hurdle. For about 1 in 5 Americans, the simple desire to avoid an argument is the specific reason they dodge the money talk completely. And that creates this vicious cycle where the silence just makes the eventual problem even worse. Okay, enough with the doom and gloom. Let's pivot and talk about the solution. Because honestly, the rewards for breaking this silence are huge. Talking about money isn't just about spreadsheets and budgets. It's about building a stronger, happier, and more satisfying relationship from the very beginning. You basically have two paths you can go down. On one side, you've got the open couple. They tend to be way more satisfied with their relationship, they're on the same page about their goals, and their future feels clear. Then, you've got the silent couple. They're dealing with unspoken stress, a real risk of resentment, and maybe some nasty financial surprises down the line. The choice couldn't be more clear. You see, when you talk about money, you're not just talking about dollars and cents. You're really uncovering who a person is at their core. What are their values? Are they a spender or a saver? How do they feel about debt? What are their big life goals? Do they care about financial independence? These are the real ingredients for compatibility. So, how do you actually do it? How do you start this conversation without it feeling like an interrogation or, sparking a huge fight? Well, here is a simple 3-step guide to make this whole thing feel natural and productive, not terrifying. First up, normalize it early. Don't wait until you're moving in together. Experts actually suggest bringing up simple stuff like your saving goals by maybe the 3rd or 4th date. Second, talk about goals, not judgments. Instead of saying, wow, you spend a lot of money, try asking something like, so what are some of the big things you're hoping to save up for in the future? And third, use real life as a conversation starter. Talking about how crazy rent is getting or saving up for a vacation, these are perfect, low-pressure ways to get the ball rolling. So as we start to wrap this up, it's so important that we reframe this whole topic. This was never really about who has more money or who's paying for dinner. It's about something much, much deeper and way more important for the long-term health of your relationship. And this, right here, is the ultimate takeaway. Every single conversation you have about money is really a conversation about trust, about your shared values, and about just being honest with each other. When you open up about your finances, what you're really showing your partner is that you trust them with your vulnerabilities and with your future. So I'll leave you with this one question to think about. It doesn't matter if you're on your third date or in your third year of marriage. Is your relationship being built on a foundation of real, genuine financial trust? Because a foundation that's built on anything less, well, that's pretty shaky ground to be standing on.